Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. As usual, I am joined by Perry. Woohoo! Lenny.
Hello.
And Jalen.
What is this? Where am I? How did I get here?
Well, yeah, you're doing the podcast now, buddy. Put down the M&Ms. All right.
This is an intervention.
This is
the intervention of M&M's podcast.
Exactly.
Can't stop me from eating them.
Yes, I can.
I'll eat them forever.
Brought to you by Nestle.
Exactly. Well, anyway.
Now I'm just imagining a Scrooge McDuck image of Jalen just dropping into a room filled with M&Ms.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. But anyway, guys, we have a lot of good stories for you today. Guys, you guys picked out some really good ones this week.
Some good ones and some really, really dumb ones.
Yes. So let's start with one of the biggest, let's say, fuck-ups of this week or past 2 weeks. Lenny, let's start with your story with the Coleco.
Okay, so you guys probably understand this concept, but there's a lot of people out there who are very appreciative of the retro gaming scene. You know, a lot of people have a fair amount of nostalgia for, like, you know, old Nintendo and Sega consoles. You know, the NES, the SNES, the Genesis, all sorts of all that stuff. Even older with, like, the Atari stuff, and it's really nice when you have stuff like that with, like, people who are willing to support older stuff, especially people like, I don't know, the ROM hack community. Like, there are people who are still, like, making and buying games for old consoles. That's just how much people love it. And some companies are supporting this, because you have companies that make stuff like, I don't remember who made it, but there's, like, the Retron 5, you know, where they have, like, almost all of the major older ones, or at least a notable amount, kind of packaged in there.
Yeah.
There's a market, there's a fan base, there's people who do this. If you look at, like, AVGN, you know, he has, like, an entire shelf of, like, every old game ever.
That's pretty much how he's made his entire YouTube existence.
Yeah, so you know that there's people out there who are very passionate about this, and you gotta try and get it right.
Yeah. Even I dabble in it. I have a couple of retro consoles.
Yeah. So along comes the Retro VGS, so that's what it was originally called.
Uh-huh.
And they go to a game show to show it off, because a lot of people were like, this sounds awesome, but we're skeptical, because originally it was supposed to play, at least from what I remember, it was supposed to play Atari and SNES and Sega games. I forget which one specifically, but all three across...
I think it said something like Sega Genesis or something like that.
Yeah, Genesis, SNES, and Atari 2600. So
That makes sense.
all sorts of really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what they showed up with? They showed up with a Atari Jaguar case. My Jaguar really did not do very well. Because they show up with that, and then inside of it was the internal hardware for an SNES Junior. Not even remotely modified or changed. All the internal parts were the same. All the ports for the controllers and the VGA cables and everything was identical. And the back of the machine was, like, taped shut. And they brought this to a fucking show to show off for everybody, and they got caught red-handed. So everyone was like you're just trying to sell us like a repackaged SNES, and it can't even do all the things you described it being able to do. So they go to Facebook, and they're like, okay, we understand that you guys are enthusiastic and gave us some good criticism. Because that's a wonderful way to put it. And they put up pictures saying, here's our new functioning prototype that we hope to make a good, valuable product soon. Go help us at GoFundMe and Indiegogo and Kickstarter. What they showed was the same case. It was a clear one instead of a black one now. And inside of it was a PC DVR motherboard chip. No, nothing for, like, slots to put your games inside of. No controller parts. There wasn't even anything, like, connected to the back, because they didn't show cameras on the back, but they were easily able to identify this is just a video capture card. That's it. Like, so the equivalent of, like, a giant flash drive, and they just, like, put it inside of a clear case and said, buy our shit.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Because that can't even, like, it can't run games. Like, as in, not even, like, just, because at least in the previous one that could run SNES games, this can't run anything.
Let me just take a swig of my drink. Also, what?
Yes! And then people started criticizing them, like, Review Tech USA and Alpha Omega Sin brought this up, and with, like, Review Tech, they threatened, like, legal action against him. They said, take our video down now or else.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Comments. Yeah.
Snake oil, fellas. Snake oil.
Did they actually fool anybody?
Again, I don't know what to say to that.
Yes.
They actually... How many...
Like, not anymore, but at the time, with their various projects, they had made several thousands of dollars, like, before they showed off anything, because of the concept alone.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they originally, for the initial, like, Indiegogo thing, they wanted $2 million for this project. They only got 15,000 before they just, like, it was just done and over with. So they decided to, like, start over again and repackage it as Coleco Chameleon.
What a way to tarnish a good name in gaming world.
Yep.
So just a bunch of con artists trying to make a quick buck, huh?
Yeah.
This is the industry we live in.
Like, here's the thing. When you got things like vaporware where they, like, say things and then they realize they just, like, go away, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're talking about these guys went forward with, like, a public showing at, like, a giant public event and went forward with this, thinking that they could, like, do this and get away with it. It's like, what did you think would happen?
How hopped up on the drugs were they?
All of the drugs.
Maybe they're just really dumb.
Yeah. It's people trying to take advantage of a very, like, devoted fan base or a very niche market. Thinking
Once
that
again, all of the drugs.
Yeah, not to mention that, I'll say this. Even if every single thing that they said was actually sold as advertised and everything else, there's one other thing that maybe more confused me. But you have systems like the Retron 5 and other ones that can play even more than that, because that's just the one that comes to mind for me. You have systems that can play more than it does, even if it did everything as advertised. So why would I want to buy it unless it was like a sort of like uber cheap thing? Like, unless it was like, oh, you can get this for like $80 or something, whereas the Retron 5 is like 120, then maybe you'd be like, oh, well there, now I can get like a cheaper alternative to the big name products. But again,
even in that case, you might be able to find a price slash on Amazon or something.
yeah, so it's like, if you don't play as many games as your competitors can do, then the only way it could possibly be of a good benefit is if it's like a much cheaper than your competitors. And that's it. And why on earth would you want to corner a market when all you can do is be like, you know, the fucking Kmarts of the industry?
Ooh.
And that's just if it was successful, and they can't even do that right.
This brings up so many confused yet angry feelings.
I'm just baffled.
Yep.
I just kind of want to laugh.
This shows off the dark side of crowdfunding. There are so many people out there that are willing to take advantage of people.
This is why I'm very careful with the Kickstarters that I go with.
This is just bad. Oh my god.
You know the sad thing about this is,
What?
I remember when I first heard about this months ago, and I showed this to Lenny. I was partway considering this option, but at the same time, I'm just like, this doesn't feel right. $2 million for this? I don't think so.
Oh man.
So thankfully, I was not duped because of Lenny saying, "No, don't do this."
Oh, man.
Good job, Lynn.
Hooray, I
You
saved you
saved
from
me
buying.
from making a potentially very stupid decision, and now it results. It would have been a very stupid decision.
Awesome. Oh. Sorry, guys, one sec. Let's go to the next topic.
Oh my god. All right. I still can't believe this. All right, Jalen, let's go ahead with your topic.
All right, so a bit of happy, some optimistic news after that terrible
Don't get used to it, people.
So you may not remember, but in May of last year, Nintendo was like, hey, we're teaming up with Universal and we're going to make a theme park thing. Woohoo.
Oh.
So now the deal is almost finalized. They're gonna invest around 40 billion yen.
That's a lot of money.
Last I checked, is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. It's like $300 million US.
Which is probably a good paycheck for Nintendo.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
So the plan is it's gonna be like they don't have an official name for it yet, but it's called Mario World.
That sounds limiting.
Oh, it's a placeholder name.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they plan to have it done by 2020.
How much you want to bet it's going to be called Nintendo Land?
I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I would prefer that over Mario World because Mario World, again, it sounds limiting because then it's like, oh, what if you want, like, you know, Link or Samus to be, like, characters? Like, well, what are they doing in Mario World? You know, they're not Toad.
Well, when you put it that way.
You know, I mean, granted, they did the same thing with Camp Snoopy, where, like, they had characters that were not Snoopy there. So...
Wait, are we talking about the Peanut Snoopy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Snoop Dogg Land.
Where the
At the time.
where the bitches roam free and you have to drop it like it's hot.
Oh my goodness.
That needs to be the name of, like,
every day.
like, if they had, like, one of those, like, rides that's, like, a very, very tall tower, they need to call it Drop It Like It's Hot.
I'm ashamed of myself for even bringing that up.
Okay, we're getting slightly off topic.
Guys, just let's go back. Nintendo.
Yes, the Nintendo theme park.
Is this
That's so sweet.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't consider this sooner, honestly.
Well, I think the current going on focus for Nintendo as they are moving in now is to expand the influence of their characters and products to get them to reach a more mainstream market, even though in the video game world you can't get more mainstream than Nintendo, besides maybe Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that may, I don't know, have been foreshadowed. Not that it was, like, predictable, but foreshadowed when they started getting into, like, amiibos.
Yeah.
That's them trying to get into the, like, NFC/action figure market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
So, actually, how successful do you think this park is going to be, guys?
I think it'll be popular. I mean, if Harry Potter World can be popular, Nintendo World in Japan could be popular.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's quite possible that those attractions could come over to Universal Studios over here in the States.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you consider the idea that there's a lot of, like, either rides or attractions, you know, like you said with Harry Potter World, that are based on just one licensed property or franchise, and then Nintendo has, like, you know, like, their whole entire, like, I don't know, pool of them. You know, they got Mario, Donkey Kong, you know, Metroid, so on and so forth. The fact that they're not just limited to one, like, you know, Harry Potter would be, is something along the lines of saying they might have good variety or a good pull of people who want to go and see this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Universal had a Jaws ride. That's just one movie series, and only, like, one of them is actually good in the movie series. And they made an entire ride off of it.
Yeah.
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 All right. And another question. Do you think this idea would have done any better if they would have executed it back in their heyday when they were, like, on top of the world and they were, like, super, super, super popular?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they would have done this, like, back when, say, like, around, like, Mario 3 or, like, Super Mario World came out.
Yeah.
That probably, because, I mean, that was back when Nintendo was involved in, like, movies and, like, other stuff back then, too. They were, like, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, ironically also made with The Wizard, which was another Universal movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Comes full circle, bitches.
You're right.
So I can't help but feel like they kind of pulled the trigger on this a little late. You know?
Well, I feel like after that, you know, the Mario movie is terrible. And everything Nintendo related to TV shows is terrible, besides maybe Kirby.
I don't know. The Super Mario Brothers cartoon was passable.
Like, I think it's kind of passable in, like, this is like so cheesy bad that I can't be mad at it kind of a way.
Yeah. And then
I'm just talking about the cartoon segments, not the live action ones.
Oh,
Screw
okay.
that.
Oh, okay.
Where you have a wrestler play Mario. Where you have a wrestler play Mario.
Mm-hmm.
It
But
looks like a porn star.
Remember, guys, when you
Stop,
hire a
please.
wrestler to play Mario, you'll go to hell before you die.
please stop. Don't remind me of these things.
Well, I will remind you of them, and you will like it.
That's what
I
this
don't,
podcast is here for, to remind you of things you don't want to know. All right. So,
It's like the nostalgia critic. We remember it so you don't have to.
yeah. So any other thoughts before we move on to something else?
I probably have a little bit to say about this, mostly.
All right.
I don't know. I guess I'm sort of not freaking surprised by this from Nintendo, because almost nothing they do surprises me anymore. Because really, Nintendo, they're just trying to be fucking Disney. Let's be honest. They're trying to be fucking Disney. They're going to be like Disney. They pretty much got their inspiration from their empire from Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole, and not to mention, the whole reason that Mario was a thing, and the reason we got him, is because Nintendo was trying to make a Popeye game, which was at the time owned by Disney.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So this to me is nothing more than just the culmination of, so you finally made your empire, and now you're going to set out to conquer the world. Next thing you know, Nintendo buys fucking Disney.
That's not gonna happen. You know that.
Oh, I know it's not going to happen. I'm just going out completely outlandish scenario and saying, like, in terms of complete world domination, Nintendo and Disney basically get in bed together and just rule everything.
I mean, the worst case scenario is that we'll see a nuclear war because Disney tried to buy Mario.
Led by the reanimated corpse of Walt Disney himself?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
hang
then
on.
all of a sudden, the term Mushroom Cloud is going to take on a whole new meaning.
Guys, let's stop writing fan fiction on this podcast.
No, hang on. I got something.
Hold on, I'm just posting. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just posting this to fanfiction.net as we talk
No,
about it.
man, just think about this for a minute, all right? Just this chain of events, which is like completely bonkers and absurd. If it wasn't for animated spinach commercials from like the 30s or earlier, whatever the fuck Popeye started, then we would not have rampant censorship in the video game industry.
What was
Shut
the...
your poor mouth.
Lenny, I think your conspiracy hat is getting a little too
No.
big. But you're actually onto something.
Yes, fucking, if they didn't advertise spinach with animated characters, they wouldn't have made Popeye. If they didn't make Popeye, then Mario wouldn't have been a thing. If Mario wasn't a thing, Nintendo probably wouldn't be very successful. And if they weren't successful, they wouldn't be so big that they could censor the shit out of everything that they're doing right now. So blame spinach for all your problems.
But what about The Legend of Zelda?
All right. So,
Yeah, why do you think his tunic is green?
so,
Spinach.
so our goal is clear, gentlemen. We must research time travel. Go back in time to kill an animated cartoon.
No, we'll kill spinach. That'll make things slightly easier. Spinach can't fight back.
We'll just put E. coli in them.
Jesus.
God. All right.
This is stupid. Let's
All right.
continue.
Let's go before we get raided by
I
the
just love
FBI.
how we were just completely going on, and Lenny's just like, "This is fucking stupid."
You started
You
it.
started this train of conversation.
Yes. That's how bad it got. I have become self-aware.
Lenny is now Skynet. People confirmed.
Yeah. Let's move on. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Perry, you said Nintendo can't surprise you anymore. So let's go ahead and go into your article.
Well, considering that, what is it? Every single podcast we've been doing with all four of us together since the beginning of this year, has pretty much every episode involved me bitching about Nintendo censoring some bullshit.
Just about.
Yeah.
I'd say at least about 4/5 of them so far.
Yeah.
Well, in the world of more Nintendo censorship and them not surprising me anymore, they've done some more censorship. This time, however, not involving Fire Emblem. This time, however, it involves Bravely Second. For those of you who don't know, that is the sequel to the Nintendo 3DS game Bravely Default. And what they did, you might have heard several months ago, that they censored the Tomahawk class, and which was originally designed with Indian characters on it, has now been changed to more of a cowboys. for the Western releases, because apparently that doesn't make an implicit Native American connection.
All right.
Anyways, Nintendo logic. So, what they've done now is apparently a little bit more substantial, because most of the stuff they've done censorship-wise can all usually be categorized in the form of either minor feature sets or possible costume or cosmetic changes. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get this, and I'm gonna read this off quote for quote from GameZone.com, and we'll post a link for the article in the description.
Yeah.
They said, just when you thought it couldn't get any more ridiculous, the latest localization failure which falls upon us with the grace of a cow drop from an airplane.
Damn.
Unfortunately, this time it isn't a joke. Entire storylines have been removed from the game so that the players can only receive one outcome. Quote, they have removed all non-neutral side quests / asterisk quest outcomes. Any choices that would cause the player or characters to die have been removed. Whatever choice you make now, you receive the neutral outcome, whether both sides make it out okay. Compared to the Japanese version, where you have four different outcomes with voice cutscenes.
Jesus.
So what you're telling me is that they took this Japanese game and they turned it into Sweden, completely neutral.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
God, that's actually almost just as bad as Fire Emblem.
I'd say that's even worse, because at least they didn't cut out plot points in Fire Emblem. They just did some stuff because, partial nudity is offensive.
Yep.
You're right. Jesus. This sucks for anybody who liked the classic RPG gameplay of Bravely Default.
So
no, this kind of pisses me off, because I know people that are excited for Bravely, or love Bravely Default. Some of them are my classmates. And so to hear this, I'm just like, oh, this is going to be so hard to tell them this.
oh my god.
But no, Nintendo is at it again with their censorship shenanigans, because they can't seem to fucking leave anything alone.
Was this Nintendo Treehouse again, or was this like localized by something else?
I'm pretty sure this was Treehouse.
Of course.
It has to be.
It's pretty sure it's Treehouse.
So some people need to be fired. That's all I have to say. They're taking this.
Can I just say something real quick, just as a little joke?
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just kind of pondering this story in the car just today, and I was thinking back to the Fire Emblem story and the fan patch you guys were telling me about the other day.
Right.
And I thought, how funny would it be if I did a playthrough of Fire Emblem Fates and I called it Timber Edition as in reference to Treehouse and chopping it down.
Oh, that'd be
God.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey guys, welcome to Fire Emblem Fates Timber Edition. Why is it called this? Because fuck you, Treehouse.
I got one better. Call it Deforestation.
How about Smoky Edition?
Sounds violent.
Smoky Edition. Only you can prevent forest fires. Alright, where's my matches?
Yeah. So I think Nintendo needs to actually look at Nintendo Treehouse, because clearly somebody's gone mad with power.
Someone needs to be fired.
Yeah.
Or all of them need to be fired.
Like they've taken the censorship shit to the extreme. Like to the
Just
point.
stop making Nintendo Treehouse and make Nintendo Fort.
To the point where like they're taking out like plot points and options and multiple endings. Why?
I mean,
I don't
these
know.
are selling points of the game here.
The sad
gone.
thing is that they don't give it. I mean, yes, they explain that they don't want to give they don't give bad endings, but what's in the bad endings that's so offensive and horrible that you have to take it out?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I mean, what, just like all the characters get impaled up through the ass and then all the way through their mouth or something?
No.
What happens?
Oh
No.
my, that's very graphic for chibis.
Lenny, Perry, Jalen, brace yourselves. This is what happens in the bad ending. Something bad, and you don't win.
Oh no, I can't just, I don't know, turn off or reset the game and restart at a certain save file.
No, the horrors.
But no, like, I'm really not surprised that they're doing this now. It's just like, well, it's only a matter of time before they start censoring entire release dates or something.
Man. Any more thoughts before we move on?
I didn't know we lived in the year 1982.
No, we can at least go to like some weird club to get over it, but no, we live in 2016 and we're being censored to death.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. And to be perfectly honest, I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm also gonna try and pay attention to every Nintendo release from now on, because if it's anything touched by Treehouse, I'm not buying it. Now, that is only if there is a fan patch to remove everything that has been censored, which is why I'm kind of curious about the whole Fire Emblem Fates thing that you guys were mentioning to me earlier, because, like you said, that pretty much removes everything that was censored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that I'm actually considering now. So it's like, I'm going to wait until everything is finished or fixed before I buy it. So, at least then, although, this is something that I was kind of discussing with, actually no, I probably already discussed this before on a previous podcast. Anyway, I'll bring it up in private next time, but, I don't know, just censorship of complete storylines. What's next? Freaking characters being omitted, main plot quests being completely altered, certain cutscenes being completely removed from the game. What's freaking next?
You get rid of items. I mean, you're gonna turn these rice balls into hot dogs.
Apparently, Nintendo Treehouse is the reincarnation of 4Kids.
Probably.
Pretty much. Letty, anything to say?
I think he said he was going to be right back.
Alright, you back?
Yes.
Alright, anything to say before we move on?
I think it's weird right now with the state of censorship because based on certain hints and suggestions, it's implied that everything with the stuff that's going on is done by feminazis and social justice warriors.
Yeah.
But that's just right now. And I don't know how long, because movements come and go as time passes. And I'm curious to see how this goes, because we may or may not see stuff in the future where games will be censored based on laws,
Right.
or based on stuff more focused with, like, corporate stuff or money stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's like, right now, it's not that great, because it's like, you're censoring stuff, and it's like, cosmetic things, in the long run, are not entirely, like, they're important for the sake of, like, art, It's always good to do that, but one thing to consider is, like, we never had stuff like this before, because, like, we've never had entire storylines cut for the sake of censorship or localization. Because
most we've had, like, dialogue alterations.
Yeah, there have been certain things where, like, maybe one or two scenes were cut, or one or two things were altered ever so slightly, but having an entire sections of the plot and entire gameplay elements removed from a localization is insane.
I think
It's insulting, really.
It would be like if they had, say, Infamous. It would be like if the localized version of Infamous only allowed you to do the good guy half.
People would freaking piss.
Or that would be like if you weren't allowed to be a Sith in KOTOR.
Oh,
That
God.
would make me really annoyed, because that defeats the whole purpose of being in the game.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not personally going to enjoy that or would want to do that,
Well, it's
I would be pissed for the people who would want to do that, because being a Sith is surprisingly popular among Star Wars fans, and I can see why.
And alternatively, this kind of goes back to something among baseline human psychology. Even if you're going to make the same choice that someone wants you to make, your ability to deviate from that path is what makes it important.
Yeah.
So it's like this. If I was, say, in a room and there's a brick wall between me and a weed, that's an illegal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Me being on the other side of that brick wall means that no matter what I do, unless I have, like, super strength, I cannot get to the weed. Alright? So by that logic, I am obeying the law. But if I was in that room, there's no brick wall, and I choose not to partake of it anyways, that's a much better decision, or it will feel like a much better decision, because you have the ability to do the bad thing or do something else, and it has a lot more weight to it. So compare that to, say, BioShock and Infamous and Mass Effect, where you always have the option to be a dick. And a lot of times it can be very profitable and fun. And
Right.
choosing not to means that you weren't just forced along the path of the goody-goody two-shoes.
Right.
And that's really important. And if you have a game with narrative elements like that and you cut that, then it's not important anymore. That is you... It's like the difference between walking in a graveyard at night or sitting in like a haunted house hayride.
Right.
One of them is just no. Not that I'm against linear storytelling, but when you already start off with non-linear storytelling and then you just limit it down like that, that's...
It's
dumb.
It's dumb. All right. Jalen, anything?
The last localization I can think of that was anything close to this bad is the Persona PS1 localization that we got, which changed the entire character's race from Japanese to black.
I remember that.
I'm gonna need some explanation for this one.
Yeah, Persona 1 came to the US in I think 99 or 2000, I can't remember. But because Persona is traditionally very Japanese cultured and that it's a Japanese school and all that, they tried to Americanize it. So like a lot of characters' names got changed to more American names, and some characters' hair color was changed, their eye colors were changed. Like there's one girl who has like brown eyes and black hair. She got blue eyes and blonde hair. And then this one guy completely...
Apparently that's what Japanese people think all Americans look like.
Who knows? But the most terrible is like this kid, I think his name, I cannot remember his Japanese name, but his name in English was Mark. And they changed him from a Japanese kid with a yellow beanie to a black kid with a purple hat, I think. I'll try to find a picture for you.
Jalen, I laughed so hard that put a tear in my blue eye.
Oh, and they also cut out a side quest that was really cool.
Yeah. Oh god. But let's move on. We got more sad news to talk about.
Yep.
All right. So you guys remember a little while ago they mentioned that some fans were remaking Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Officially, this has been shut down. So, Lenny, what do you think of it?
I don't know how much it's been established on previous podcasts, but I'm a relatively big Metal Gear fan.
Me too.
We all are.
Yeah. And I think that considering the recent events with Konami and Kojima, a fan remake of the original is something that would have been very helpful for revitalizing the series. All right? I don't know a ton of people have a huge amount of interest in going back and playing Metal Gear Solid 1. And like even if they do, most of the time they might lean towards Twin Snakes because, HD remakes or remakes in general, not just, because it's GameCube, it's not HD, but, remakes of a game generally will be better for newer people or for people who aren't exposed to, like, the previous incarnations because it's not relying on nostalgia, it's relying on visuals, and, well, as we go into the future, people are really, really turning into, spoiled in regards to graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, everything has to be bigger and shinier and everything else, so on and so forth. But this, and the fact that it's being made by fans is something that would help revitalize it because it's like a lot of people have lost faith in Konami. And so most likely if people looked at this being made in-house with Konami, they would have said, oh, boo, they're just going to ruin it. They're just trying to cash in on the games that are already made because they lost the only person who's like, would be qualified to make, a good product. So they're just going to keep shelling out remakes of the old ones over and over and over again ad infinitum. So, but this would have been an excellent solution. Have it handled by fans, then supported, or even better yet, funded and distributed by Konami. And it wouldn't help immediately, but it would have eventually led to a better opinion of Konami in the eyes of the fandom for Metal Gear. And they shut it down.
Yep. Instead of supporting it and probably making some money and helping their image, they brought the hammer down on that son of a bitch.
Yeah. And it's like, why? Why? Because, I mean, it's not... Valve isn't perfect, but they did a good job when it regards to Black Mesa Source, because they saw that it was a fan game being made, and rather than bring down the hammer or anything else, they're like, go ahead. And they let it on Steam, and they even added like stuff to where they were actually backing them and funding them and advertising for them, and now it's even on early access. So now it's like an official like Valve sponsored product, and that's excellent because it's a really, really good remake / mod of Half-Life 1. It, unless you're there for nostalgia or authenticity, it genuinely overwrites your need to go back and play the original game. And considering how well received that is, that's a really impressive feat.
Yeah.
And they did a good job just by supporting it. Konami's like, nope. Oh, what's that? Unless I didn't hear the word pachinko in that sentence, so I'm gonna have to stop you.
You're not catching balls and earning money, so no. Now get out of the way, fan game. We need to make this other Castlevania pachinko machine. It's gonna make us a lot of money.
You need to make the Silent Hill pachinko as well.
Because here's the thing. A while ago, and we're also going back to Valve, there was some people who made a game, I forgot, it's called Something Drop. Like, I'm just gonna call it Agatha's Drop because it started a little girl or something or whatever. And it was the basic concept that would eventually turn into Portal.
Right.
What they did is they saw this and they hired them on as official staff and had them work on a more advanced version of the game in order to tie it in as a bonus feature add-on for Half-Life 2 when the Orange Box came out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's awesome. So unless this is happening, we just haven't heard word of it. The best possible thing that could have resulted from this news is that the project is down because Konami hired them officially to make the remake as like an actual team rather than just a bunch of like modders or doing it as a free game. But that is at this point like 99% chance of it being a lucid fantasy.
Yeah.
Like there's like barely a chance of that is ever possibly happening, but who knows? It could. A fanboy can dream.
Yeah. Jalen, what do you think?
I'll never go back to Shadow Moses, and it looked pretty without having to play that one part of Metal Gear Solid 4.
Hey, it's a nice ride, though.
Yeah, it is.
It's a nice trip down memory lane. But
I think Jalen needs a hug.
I'll hug him next time I see him. But
don't you dare.
Just pat him on the head and just tell him it's okay. It's okay.
All right. Well, yeah, it sucks. But Perry, what do you think?
In short, fuck Konami again. But I really don't get what is the big freaking deal of fan projects getting the ban hammer from companies, because the fan projects themselves, that's what it is, a project made by people who obviously love the original material and have bought it. So, I mean, it just basically is, it's like Let's Plays. It's free advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, hey guys, you remember this really cool thing that we made back in God knows how long ago? Well, here's an upscale version of this. We remade this, and guess what? It's free.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason I can imagine companies getting upset about this is because they would argue that it takes away from people buying the actual game itself. Here's the problem with that logic. People who are going to be interested in these fan projects are most likely either people who are already remaking it in the fan project, or have already bought it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're remaking something like some obscure as fuck game from the 80s or early 90s that nobody, unless you're like, if you're like remaking Vector Man for some reason,
Oh God.
and it was just like, if you're remaking that, I can understand Sega possibly wanting to say, don't do that, by a very, very slim margin. But even then, there's all sorts of modern alternatives to get that copy of a game to you anytime that you want. You can get it on the freaking Genesis collection for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. You can get it on freaking Steam right now as well. So there's nothing preventing you from getting the original game and giving them a little bit of money if you want to support this. And the whole point of those fan projects is that stems from the love of the original source material, so you want to show your admiration for it by making it better. It just doesn't make any sense at all.
And it's like, you gotta look at it from the perspective of, like, the idea that companies, in theory, like in legal theory, should not be able to actually take down fan projects.
Yeah.
Like, they shouldn't in the first place, but even if they wanted to, they shouldn't be able to under the various provisions of fair use. And the basic gist is, since none of these things are replacing the original products, like, there are very few cases where, like, a game will, like, genuinely be a complete overhaul of the original game. You know, a lot of them are mods or just editings or stuff like that, you know, because you got ROM hacks, you got level editors, you got fan games. And yet, huge companies, a majority of the time, don't take these things down. And, because, like, you got various examples. Like, I mentioned earlier, like, before the podcast, that there's a game based off of a creepypasta called Suicide Mouse, which is about Mickey Mouse committing suicide. And that is, it's something that you assume with Disney being so, you know, family-friendly, PC, you know, and everything else, that they would not want their most iconic character ever, you know, being portrayed in such a, like, brutal and dark manner. And yet the game is still up. Like, you can still play it and watch it on YouTube and everything else, and there hasn't, as far as I know, been any genuine effort to take it down if they ever knew about it. And that's just one example. There's a ton of, like, Pokemon fan games. There are ones that have been, like, ROM hacks, like, where you can play Gold and Silver in first-person mode. And
Heck, just use the most recent example with, like, Five Nights at Freddy's. There's a ton of fan games for that.
yeah, there's a million of them, and it's like, they don't have any sort of genuine right to have them taken down, but you can't usually determine that until after a court proceeding, and that requires very expensive lawyers. And, you know, lawyers know how to prattle on, even if they're bullshitting. They know how to say as many things as they can to elongate the process, and lawyers are expensive. And to be honest, how many people, you know, I mean, not that we know any fan game creators, but how many people out there are making mods and fan games that could genuinely afford to, like, outmatch or to meet up with, like, the various gigantic, well-paid lawyer teams of a, you know, corporation, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you had a family member that was a lawyer.
Yeah. So, like, unless you have something that's, like, you know, pro bono work and you have a lot of time and dedication for it, then there's that. And even in the end, that's still under the idea that you're not actually selling it. Like, you're not actually genuinely selling the product because it's like a fan game. So, even if you went through all of that, all it would have been is a lot of wasted time for something that you're not going to make money on. You'll get a lot of attention, but you wouldn't actually be able to make any profit off of it outside of publicity.
Right.
And so that's why this is, at least for the time being, most likely working. Because intimidation through financial struggles. And, like, what more can you say about it? It's like, that's why a lot of people are afraid to do stuff like this, especially, you know, with you guys hearing all this drama on YouTube these days with, like, takedowns and fair use, copyright, trademark. Oh god, it's chaos everywhere. I mean, okay, that's an exaggeration, obviously, but so many people just don't understand or know what's going on that it's sometimes difficult to get a good grasp on who is in the right and what we are actually allowed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. But let's go ahead and move on
All right.
to more Nintendo news.
Ugh.
Who wants to take this bad boy? NX, come on, any takers?
I got this one.
All right.
So there, for a while, have been a lot of various rumors about the NX and what it is going to be like. The last batch of rumors said that the controller was going to be a screen/touch screen that would change based on what game that you're playing. We don't know if that is still going to hold true, but the current batch of rumors say this, that it is going to be a controller-based console, as in the entirety of the hardware is in the controller itself, and that it has a little thing, like, you know how sometimes you have wireless mouses that spit out a USB dongle? In this one, it spits out from the top of it a little HDMI dongle that you plug into a TV or monitor, and it will stream whatever game that you happen to be playing from the controller to whatever TV that you happen to be playing on. And supposedly, it will have haptic feedback analog sticks, meaning that the sticks can rumble, vibrate, and add or take away tension based on what the game is programmed to do. And it will be roughly as powerful as an Xbox One in terms of graphical and performance fidelity.
Pixar, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Man, the Nintendo Revolution sounds real.
This sounds like a power fantasy.
Yeah.
Is this even possible? Is this even possible?
Yes.
Okay.
It is possible, although, because if you look at something like, say, the NVIDIA Shield, that operates on a similar principle of, a handheld thing that, streams to places.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing you gotta consider is the size of the controller and the cost of the controller, as well as latency issues. Okay, see, that's the interesting thing. Since the controller is the console, there technically would be literally no latency between your actions and the game. But there may be visual latency since it has to stream HDMI quality video wirelessly to a dongle.
Yeah.
Because every other system has just the HDMI cable itself doing that. But again, those are wires, where they have all the information traveling through various types of metal, which is a much better conductor than air. So we're presented with the idea of much better control, but with potentially much worse visuals.
Yeah.
Lagging visuals with no controller lag. And the other thing is how big the controller will be if you're considering that's the power of an Xbox One, which that's not a ton of power when you compare it to PC and the PS4 is slightly more powerful. Not a ton, but slightly. And cramming all that into there, and not to mention the potential for heating issues, because again, if the controller's in your hand and you're playing a really graphically intense game, that thing's going to heat up. And I don't know if you guys know this, but sometimes gamers get sweaty palms, and nothing would make that worse than having a highly overclocking game console in your hand emitting heat somewhere onto you. And also, fun fact, water and electronics don't go well together, and in some rare cases, sweat can be considered a liquid.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a lot of issues. And again, that's if they can do this. So unless they have something that's slightly bigger than the Wii U gamepad for the controller, they might not even be able to fit that much power into the controller in the first place.
Yeah.
And then what about all the games, too?
Yeah.
That is going to be
supposedly,
digital?
based on this idea, it's either going to have to be download only, or it's going to have to be download only, because unless you can fit an entire fucking disc in there, I don't think it's going to work.
Oh, that's not cool.
So goodbye physical releases for Nintendo games.
This all sounds like a really bad idea.
Yes. Some of it is cool.
Yeah.
Apparently, the two things that they also noted was apparently the HDMI dongle has Bluetooth capability, meaning that various smartphones, tablets, and like all the other controllers can all plug in like to that one area.
Mm.
Like, meaning that you'll have, like, you know, all 4 players being able to, like, play with only one dongle in use, and, you know, other, again, smartphone capabilities, so you might be able to use that as alternative screens, and that's all nice. But still, a lot of this seems like a very weird thing when you consider the idea that condensing it all into one small area is just a really obtuse way of going about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all I have to say about it is this.
Yeah.
If they could pull this off, it sounds like it's going to be cool. But there's so much room for error and lots of things that can go wrong that I think it would just be worth their time and money to just make an actual console, like a nice, powerful, like 1080p console would be nice. I don't think anybody would complain. Like, but Nintendo is always trying to innovate. I never got that. Like, they can never just make a console. They have to make it weird and innovating in some way.
See,
And it usually revolves around some dumbass gimmick.
and here's
Yep.
the weird thing. There's 2 other things that people have like said about the way the console's going to go. One of the things is they say that apparently it's really easy to code and program for. Like, as in,
I believe
Yeah,
it.
like-
I'll that when I
like
see it.
yeah, like you make the game and then you just send the code for it and it just renders like really well, apparently. So there's that. And then there's also the previous rumor of having it only run at 900p. And that's really strange because the Wii U can do 1080p as is.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be like potentially like a visual downgrade. And even if we ignore all that, the fact is, if they say that it's still going to be just as powerful as an Xbox One, that means that when they launch it, they're going to technically be like equal to, if not behind the game, when the only way they could potentially get good leverage is if they're ahead of the game. Because this is the same thing that happened with the Wii U. When the Wii U came out, you know, the PS4 and the Xbox One were not out yet. So it was slightly more powerful than their competitors at the time. But the instant that the PS4, the Xbox One, and like, you know, other stuff like newer graphics cards for like PC came out, it was a completely moot point. Because it's like, oh boy, this thing that runs slightly better than a PS3 is out when I have something that runs way better for the next generation or on PC or everything else. And
Mm-hmm.
would like that's it. Then there's the same thing with the Wii. And then, like, pretty much like starting with the Wii, every console has been significantly less powerful than the competitors, but able to come out sooner. So honestly, I mean, I know the Wii U's kind of like sitting on hard times right now, but I think their efforts would be better focused if they actually went forward with a lot more, like, what do you call it? Like system sellers, you know, like must-have IPs, you know, stuff like that, rather than trying to make a new console right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Perry, what do you think? Perry, you there?
Oh, sorry. I just kind of went numb for a second just because all this Nintendo rumors just kind of made me want to go. Mostly just because, like you guys were saying, this all seems like a power fantasy, and it just kind of makes me just like, Nintendo's never really been that big on tech in terms of running a powerful system. And like you said, Lenny, like this whole thing, console running at 900p, yeah, right, that's not going to pass. I mean, if they really wanted to throw this out the window and say, okay, we're going to go something like big tech-wise, go 4K.
Yeah, because if they launched as the first like truly 4K system, that would be huge.
Yeah, say like, okay, if you want to blaze trails, do it in something that isn't something that relies on a gimmick. Give it visual fidelity. Have all of your games run in 4K, like natively in 4K. Now, I understand that 4K is still kind of in its infant stages, but having someone with the backing power of Nintendo has money to burn for days.
Yep.
They can take a gamble like that. So, I mean, a 4K Nintendo console, that would pique my interest a little bit. As long as Treehouse is not involved with any more localization. But that's beside the point.
And just give us normal controllers, damn it.
yes, please. I mean, hell, I don't even want Nintendo to. I mean, it's like you guys were also saying earlier. I mean, you guys pretty much summed up most of my points. I'm just adding on details. Just adding a normal controller. I mean, the Wii is one of my least favorite controllers of all time. I know that people's like, oh, there's the classic controller options. It's like, yeah, the only problem is not every game works with that. Some games don't give you the option, and sometimes you have to have the right type of classic controller. Sometimes you don't have a GameCube controller. Sometimes you don't have the Pro controller or something like that. Sometimes you need the Wiimote. Sometimes you need a nunchuck, and it just creates this smorgasbord of a mess in terms of figuring out how to control what games and how do you do it. So just make a default good standard controller. There's a reason why people love the Xbox format, the PlayStation format so much. It's because it's simple, it works, it doesn't need anything else. You may add a few more bells and whistles, but the form factor has generally been the same since they first were announced.
Mm-hmm.
So, Nintendo, no one would fault you or condemn you for making a controller that is standard. Making a form, and I know you have the Wii U Pro controller. That's fine. If you want to make it look a little bit different, that's okay. But you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we still use the wheel, because it works.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I've never met somebody who's just waggling their PS4 controller. I'm fucking waggling. It's not doing anything. I hate this thing.
Oh, Jesus.
No, I'm just like, no one does that. I mean, it just bothers me the fact that it's like, no, we have to do all of these crazy things all at once, and we have to have all these gimmicks, and that's going to make people want to buy our consoles. Like, no. Here's how you make your console good. 1, it's powerful enough to run your games. 2, arguably most important thing of all, you have good games that are worth selling on your console. And I'm not talking just Nintendo exclusives. I'm talking about like third-party exclusives. That's another thing you're going to have to work on. Get third parties to actually give a shit about you again. Because as far as I'm concerned, most third-party publishers who give a shit anymore or are worth a damn don't really care about your consoles.
Yep.
You put a 4K system out on the market, you might get their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, imagine something like freaking CD Projekt Red. If they made a console enough for them to pick console powerful enough to pick up their interest, how freaking weird would it be to see a Witcher game or Cyberpunk on Nintendo's NX?
Yeah.
Be crazy.
Yeah, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, Nintendo. I mean, the whole idea of the console being the controller, nifty idea. And that might be nice to save space in terms of, oh, well, I don't want to have like 30 controllers lying around, and I don't want to have to worry about packing other stuff if I want to go on a trip. But that also kind of leaves a little bit of a problem in terms of like, I'm thinking like technical support. How do you get this thing fixed if it breaks in some fashion?
I
mean,
know.
do you get a replacement HDMI dongle? Do you have to like replace the console entirely? Do you have to just replace certain components in the controller bits? How does this whole thing like fix in terms of customer service? I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Like I know with Sony systems and Microsoft systems, sometimes the console breaks or the controller breaks. Usually, you can call them up or get it fixed up pretty quickly, or just go out and get a new one.
Yeah. And, like, here's something else I'm wondering. I'm wondering stuff about the power source. Like, if it's gonna be battery-powered or if you have to plug it in. Not to mention current setups usually allow for, like, wireless controllers. So unless they include, like, a really long-ass, like, charging cable or power cord, you may or may not have to change your setup so that you're near a power outlet at all times.
Yeah.
That's another factor I didn't consider as the whole power supply. That's a good point.
Because, like, that's one thing with, like, the Wii U gamepad. It's, like, it doesn't have a ton of really great battery life because it has that giant blaring screen in the middle on constantly. And so you gotta either have it charging constantly, or you gotta charge it, like, every couple of hours, as opposed to other controllers, which battery life isn't great on Xbox One or PS4, but you can still get good, like, 6 or 7 hours out of it before you have to charge it again. And,
Yeah, I mean, most gaming sessions, when we will admit now, are not usually that long.
Yeah. So
I'd say maybe like a couple hours at most.
yeah, so not to mention, I don't know how ergonomic the controller is going to be, because apparently in that same report, they mentioned that the controller looks like a cross between an Xbox One gamepad and a 2DS.
Well then,
I don't know. I don't know.
That does not give me a vote of confidence.
Yeah, it's
I don't know how to
really-
feel about that.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
god.
take that for what it's worth.
I just imagine putting a 2DS on top of an Xbox controller and like going, okay, we're done.
Genius.
That just doesn't sound appealing in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this just doesn't sound like a good idea. There's a lot of things that can potentially go wrong. It's just why? Just why?
The good news is they, at least as far as rumors are going, say that they're at least going to announce what the system actually is this year. So we don't have to wait too long before we get genuine facts rather than just a bunch of rumors.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I will admit, I'm getting a little sick of all these NX rumors.
Yeah. So, we'll just have to wait
One
to
in
see, I guess.
particular that came up recently that I just have to call complete bullshit on.
Go ahead.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 Wait, what?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, Beyond Good and Evil 2 possibly being an NX exclusive.
Oh yeah, that shit.
I mean, it would sell a lot, but it wouldn't make a ton of sense because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe it's ever been the same thing as Bayonetta. I don't think it's ever been on a Nintendo console.
No, it has.
Oh, it has?
It was Beyond Good and Evil 1 was originally on PS2, Xbox Original, and GameCube.
Oh, okay. I
And
always thought it
PC.
was a Dreamcast game, but I think I'm wrong on that.
No, it was on everything at
Yeah.
that point. It was on all the major systems and the PC.
Okay.
So, and the HD collection came, or the HD remastering of it came out for 360 and PS3.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
I don't think it came out for PC, but you can render that thing at its highest graphical setting, and it'd be roughly about the same.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, I think actually they did come out on PC because I have it in my library.
All
Oh,
right.
Beyond Good and Evil HD.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I didn't see anything. I'll take a look at it now while you guys talk.
Well, I could see it being on the NX, but I can't see it being an exclusive on the NX. That's just weird. Like I've never. When people talk about Beyond Good and Evil, they don't usually talk about the GameCube version. You know.
Besides, isn't Ubisoft typically we put everything on everything?
Yeah, they're usually that kind of company.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean they have like a billion Assassin's Creed games out now. I mean I can't even think of one Ubisoft title or franchise they haven't made multi-platform at this point.
And it's like you guys said, they make so many games that are not like aching for money. Because like that was the thing with like Bayonetta 2. They said if Nintendo didn't come and fund us, there wouldn't be a game. But again, that's like that's a developer, not like Ubisoft is a publisher. They have all the money they need if they want to push this thing out. They
Yep.
don't need to rely like on other companies to get it out. At least as far as I know, because I mean, they're doing all right financially. You know.
Yeah, they are. So yeah, which makes that rumor even weirder. Like I don't think that's true. Like, but you guys ready to move on?
You're sure?
I'm fairly good to move on. I really don't want this to be true. Mostly just because it will give me a reason to buy this system, even though I don't want to at this point. I'm so fed up with Nintendo's crap. It's just like, how do we get Perry to want the system? I know. Let's take a really cult classic from the past two generations that he really, really likes, and he wants the sequel to really badly. Let's get that to be our exclusive because we love money and we love being evil.
If Bayonetta 3 is on it, I'll get it.
Same.
Ugh.
All right, but I'm going to hold my judgment until I actually see the thing. Like, maybe E3. E3 would be the most like logical place to show it off, but we'll see.
They'll probably just do another Nintendo Direct like always, or at least at this point.
Yeah, probably. But we good?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, guys, it's now time for my favorite section. I think Perry's favorite section as well.
All right. Adolfo, I don't mean to cut you off, but there's one other thing just very quick that we should mention. It's not going to be like a whole long, drawn-out thing, but
All right.
two big companies, specifically EA and Activision, have dropped out from E3.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But how will I know
Really
what
now?
the newest Battlefield's coming out?
Yeah. And we'll never know if Call of Duty is a thing ever again.
Yeah.
Woe is us.
Yeah, well.
So,
Anybody here emotionally destroyed?
I mean, we'll just see Activision Direct and EA Direct.
Honestly, I'm not too broken up about this. I mean,
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, I never really cared that much for E3's conference anyway, outside of what they announced for Mirror's Edge Catalyst and Ubisoft. I was like, if it's not Rayman, if it's not Assassin's Creed, that's actually good, or if it's not Beyond and Evil, I don't really care. So, anything else? So the fact they're not doing a conference, I'm just kind of like, at least we don't have to listen to a whole bunch of sports crap.
Yep.
Mm.
And it's one less day for us to cover. Sweet.
And
Right.
also no more cringeworthy Girl World jokes.
All right. So I'm chalking this up to a win.
Thank
Oh, and
goodness.
no more sports. No more sports, you guys.
Thank God.
Like I said, I'm chalking this up as a win. So you guys ready to move on?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So, back to what the fuck. So, before I even say what it is, you viewer there or listener, you go down to the description. See that last link down there? Go ahead, click on it. All right, you there? All right, cool. So tell me, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Somebody tell
It's
me.
a nightmare from one of my latest horror novels.
Somebody
You guys-
tell me what that is.
You guys ever see Food Fight?
I've seen
Yeah.
Food Fight.
Yeah, that looks like the chocolate squirrel in Food Fight.
Fucking Larry
Oh,
Cash.
No. Like, that's too generous. This looks like the rejected concept art from that squirrel in Food Fight.
Oh my god! What did they do?
Like, okay,
How could they do this to poor Conker?
look, I'm just gonna start this off with a little bit of a positive, just because everything else is gonna be negative about this. The concept behind it, which is using the HoloLens to create unique platforming levels based on the environment in the room that you're in, is really fucking cool. Alright? That's like really awesome concept. Alright?
I'll be right back.
That
guys. Keep going.
aside, though, what the fuck are they doing using Conker for this when they can't even get him to look like Conker? And the thing is, I understand why they did this, because they wanted it to be like a family-friendly thing. It was like, oh, cute animal or something, whatever. But they could have used any other, like, cute animal from their, like, library of games. Like, and they could have rendered it a million times better, too. But it's like, it's just so bad. They didn't have to. They could have just used one of their, like, things from, like, Viva Pinata, or, fuck, I mean, they own Rare. They could have, like, I'm not even kidding when they say they genuinely could have taken the N64 models of Banjo-Kazooie, and it would look better than this.
Ugh.
Oh, that's harsh.
They could have used Cameo.
Yeah, they could have.
That hits me right in the gonads.
Oh my god.
Like, and it's weird because they call him Young Conker. He's not regular Conker, he's Young Conker. And I know why they did it, because the original Conker was, he was vulgar as fuck. He was swearing and making, like, profane jokes and pop culture references and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
But that's why he was awesome!
yes, which I'm saying, like, so now, like, I don't remember if he actually talks, because I kind of tried to blot this thing out of my memory, but I don't remember if he talks at all. But as far as I know, he doesn't say the same things that he does in, like, his original game. So that would be, like, it makes just as much sense for him to be in here as, like, it would for, like, Deadpool.
Right.
You know? It's like,
just jumping around, doing nothing that matches with like them as like a character, or doing anything that fits the appeal for their character.
Heck, if Deadpool and Conker were in a game together, like in their proper forms, I would love the shit out of that.
Yeah, it would work.
Oh my god, this redesign is so bad.
It's terrible.
I'm probably going to go on a limb here and say this is probably the worst redesign of a character I've ever seen since Bomberman Act Zero.
He looks like modernized Chuck E. Cheese's.
Oh
No. Modernized Chuck E. Cheese looks better than this.
It looks almost as bad as the redesign of Math Blaster.
Oh my god.
Wait, what?
Google that up, Harry. Look at like modern Math Blaster.
Oh god,
easy.
this is probably going to hurt me a lot because I actually played those games when I was a kid.
Like,
Get ready.
like, did he really need a redesign? Did he
Like,
really need one?
No.
I mean, if they wanted to do like an HD re-render of the original character, then yeah, that'd be fine. But no, they changed him completely.
Oh my god.
Uh,
It seems every year I like Microsoft less and less.
See, this is
They should
why,
go back to just making computers.
despite the fact that I hate to be a person with biases, this is why it's fun to be a Sony fanboy currently. Because they're doing good and Microsoft is not doing so good.
Oh my god.
uh,
First they try to spy on us with their weird Kinect control that doesn't work, and now they fuck with Conker. When will it end?
And they
now they
already
can't.
fucked him
Now
up.
they can't hold on to an exclusive worth of shit.
And they already fucked him up with like that one game, like on a fucking Project Spark or something.
The game nobody played?
Oh god, that too.
Yeah, that game where they're like, they showed off Conker and everyone was like, oh my gosh, a new Conker game, that's gonna be awesome. Then he's like, well, looks like you'll have to make my new game.
Yeah.
And then everyone was just like, no, I'm done.
Why did they
Okay,
hate
I
Conker?
just found the Modern Math Blaster design.
And
Okay, it's not that bad, but it's definitely not the one that I remember.
yeah,
It basically looks like someone's been watching a little bit too much Dragon Ball Z.
it looks like their efforts to be like way more hip and cool with like the kids.
It does. I won't lie, it does. I mean, the hair looks like it's ripped straight out of Dragon Ball.
Yep.
Granted, that's not a bad thing. There's way worse things they could do with this design. It's not for me, but that's okay because I'm not the demographic they're aiming for this. But it's, I mean, when you put this alongside like the modern Math Blaster design alongside Conker or this young Conker thing, whatever the frick this thing is, then no, you can tell that this Math Blaster design is way better aesthetically and much more pleasing to the eye than Conker is. Freaking Bomberman Act Zero, you could argue, is probably better looking than young Conker.
I mean, because even though it's a really bad design, at least like it didn't look rendered incorrectly.
Right.
It doesn't look like a design that wasn't finished.
Yeah.
He's so oddly proportioned, though. Like, why?
And it's weird
I don't
because if you look at the proportions of like regular Conker, they're smaller and different than the proportions of this one. Like meaning that as he grew up, somehow like his head shrunk
Yep.
and he got shorter.
Yeah, that reverse
Apparently fat.
puberty, though.
The curious case of Benjamin Conker.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I was waiting for
This
that
is-
joke.
This thing is painful to look at. I mean, I've never even played the original Conker's Bad Fur Day or even the Xbox remake Live and Reloaded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You totally
But
should. It's really
this just I want to, but I'm probably oddly enough, I'm probably gonna go with the N64 version because that's the uncensored version. Wow, that felt dirty to say.
Yeah, you definitely should. It's a really fun time.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
fun,
sure
yeah.
it is. But this just I can almost feel the pain in my chest just from the sheer collective crying of all the fans here looking at this thing. I'm just like, I'm sorry, can we have like a Conker Rape Victims Anonymous program or something like that where we just go on and talk about how bad this design is?
And I'm still I hate to bring this up again, but I'm still confused. Like, why Conker? Why the character who had? Because again, I hate to say it, but just Banjo-Kazooie would have been better. Because like outside of like their dialogue boxes, they don't actually like talk. So it'd be appropriate for them to just kind of jump around, not doing anything, because they're from a platformer. Yeah. And you could have just rendered them in their regular proportions, or even Conker in his regular proportions, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
It's so bad when N64 character models are doing better than, fucking first-party developers in 2016.
You know what? Here's the thing. I would love a new Conker game. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people wouldn't be opposed to a new Conker game. Proper Conker game, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one simple thing that Microsoft can do in order to get into good graces of fans. Simple answer, give it to Playtonic Games.
Yeah,
Give the people who are making Yooka-Laylee, let them remake Conker.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, let's face it, that's the whole reason that Playtonic's Yooka-Laylee was successful in the first place, is because there wasn't that many 3D platformers with a bunch of anthropomorphic characters. I mean, Banjo-Kazooie... Sorry, go ahead.
That, and they're basically old rare.
Pretty much!
Yeah.
It's like, the people who actually made the game to it, like, let them do something with that, because I'm sure that they could do... Like, ever since Conker Bad Fur Day came out, since it was basically homaging a lot of Hollywood films or something like that, imagine the smorgasbord of stuff they could reference now or parody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because they were parodying everything from Dracula to Saving Private Ryan to freaking Aliens, The Matrix, everything. They were parodying so many different things. And all the profane jokes you can get away with now, as opposed to back in the late N64 era, you could do so much more now. I mean, think about it. Imagine having that Great Mighty Pooh song in freaking 1080p HDMI, like, just blown up completely, and beautiful 7.1 surround sound.
I like how you put the word beautiful in a description about the Great Mighty Pooh.
Hey man, that shit's a work of art.
We'll get a petition to have like
how bad that pun was.
We'll get a petition started so that Nolan North voices the Great Mighty Pooh.
Yes.
Oh.
That'll get better.
Yeah. So Perry, what you're saying is they need to work the base model off of Conker's Bad Fur Day and just make everything bigger and better. Which I couldn't.
Or just
Just
go ahead.
Go ahead. I couldn't agree.
yeah.
I couldn't agree more with that. Like, just make it like Bad Fur Day. Just on a bigger scale. Just not that. Just anything but that.
I mean, any alternative. If you even just gave it to Rare and just said, or to Playtonic and just said, hey, there's Conker's Bad Fur Day. He hasn't been in a game in a while. A proper game in a while. So here's the idea. Remake this thing again. Remake it again, but make it up-res to shit. Like, upscale the crap out of it so much that it even make PCs chug. I mean, I don't know how they would do that, but you can. You can probably try. But
yeah, just optimize it horribly.
Yeah, just optimize it through the roof. And just say, hey, remake Bad Fur Day. That's all you gotta do. Just remake Bad Fur Day. You don't even have to add anything extra. Sell it on like Xbox for like $30, $60, something like that. People will buy it.
Okay,
and
Perry.
you will have fans enjoying it.
Sorry, Perry. Just a clarification. When I say optimize it horribly for PC, that means that it has real performance issues and a really bad frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry.
Because I'm saying that is the only way that you could make a game like that chug, is just to make it so that it just performs horribly on everything.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking like max PC settings, like
No.
ultra settings with like anti-aliasing through the fucking roof.
If it was optimized like in a positive way, then that means that it would have much higher frame rates and it wouldn't chug at all. So
yeah,
fair enough. Unless your PC's not powerful enough for that.
yeah.
But yeah, just even if you just did a bare bones remake of Bad Fur Day, I'm pretty sure not many people would complain outside of really nitpicky bitchy critics.
I don't think anybody's ever gotten a bad has had a bad reaction to a remake. Like, can anybody think of one?
Silent Hill remake.
Okay, they fucked it up though. They fucked it up.
Yeah.
But like a good remake, like Resident Evil remake.
Oh, that's a. I'm sorry. So you just said no one's had a bad reaction to a good remake.
Yeah.
Of course they did it.
I should have worded that right.
I hate this Resident Evil remake. It looks like it all looks like polished and stuff. It makes it look like, oh wow, the character models are actually, I don't know, 3-dimensional people, and there's no cheesy dialogue. What abomination is this?
Man, this GameCube game looks like a GameCube game rip-off of the year.
Yeah, I put that shit in my GameCube. I was like, what the fuck is this?
This isn't PlayStation 1 graphics. This isn't at all what I wanted. Fuck this.
Yeah, point is, a remake is a good idea. So, just not this. Just not this.
Anything but this. Please don't do that. Just, I know there were some people like, what was the cancellation of Metroid Federation Force or something like that? People were trying to petition for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Petition the fuck out of this and say, cancel this. We don't want this. This is not Conker. I mean, I was even looking up like on the article that you sent for this one for Conker, and I looked at the poll at the bottom of the screen, and I love the options on the polls here. It says, could you learn to love that face of Conker? And it said the options are, my heart is open to all of God's creatures, and this is not a creature of God. Guess what the percentages rate on those were?
It's like 80 to 20, right?
89% said this is not a creature of God. That leaves 10% saying that they could learn they're open to this. This makes me want to question the sanity of that 10%.
The only thing that gives me hope is that this is just a tech demo. Because as far as I know, and I don't know, we'll have to hear more about this in the future, as far as I know, this is just like a tech demo, and that they just wanted one of their licenses as like a placeholder graphic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not supposed to be the next Conker game, they just wanted a Conker person to show off their new like level building technology.
So basically, this is just the biggest example of them dicking around.
Yeah, so I hope that this is just them, like, not making their message clear, rather than them actually going forward with this.
It's like a giant anti-Metal Gear conspiracy, but with Rare's Conker.
Yep.
Oh man, I just don't know what to say anymore. This is an abomination.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
In every sense of the word.
Yeah.
I haven't felt like this much of a collective facepalm about character design has happened since like when Sonic Boom was first announced.
Look, that makes it look like a freaking. This makes Sonic Boom's redesign look like a masterpiece.
Comparatively, yes. That's saying a lot when you remember how fucking bad it looked at the time.
Scarves and bandages, man.
I fucking remember when I first saw that, and I was like, oh god, what did they do to you, Knuckles?
I can't wait for that to be in Generations 2.
Chips.
Oh god.
Apparently doesn't have a concept of leg day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I mean, to be fair though, at least they still looked like their original counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
But this just no. I mean, I almost want to say, like, in terms of top 10 worst character redesigns, Sonic Boom's character redesign does not even come close to this. I would say it's like, okay, what's another really, really, really shitty redesign you've ever seen outside of Conker? I mean, I already know I would say Bomberman Act Zero.
I want to say Dante, but I don't think I'd get much support for that. Because some people wouldn't argue that that's a bad redesign.
Yeah.
I don't think it's horrible, but at the same time, I can understand why people aren't necessarily a fan of it.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'd be in that same boat as that.
I know. From the same game, Sparta.
You're gonna have to film
From-
Sparta from DMC.
Yeah, DMC Devil May Cry. Remember, he's just a dad with the polo.
Well, okay, question. Are you sure that's not just his human form, kind of similar to how Mundus has a basic human form, whereas he's just a guy in a suit?
Well, I mean, his human form in Devil May Cry, the originals, is he literally looks like Dante and Virgil with a monocle.
Wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's,
Mhm.
That just makes him look spiffy as hell.
okay, so that's spiffy, but not necessarily hard to do.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they just made him
exactly.
a dad in a polo.
Yeah, dad and the polo. And we didn't even get to see his demon form, so we don't know anything there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look this up, and I'm not really seeing him. Are you
Like,
Oh, wait, okay. I found the portrait of him, but it looks like he's just in a. It looks like he's actually in a British Army officer's uniform. It looks like with just a metal shoulder pad,
Mm.
and all it's showing is just his face slashed out.
Oh. But yeah.
Maybe I'm
There's
just-
another.
Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong picture.
no, I
Yeah,
know.
there's another
Like,
picture of him in a polo, though.
Jalen is referring to, like, the flashback graffiti things.
Yeah.
And, and
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Are you referring to this? What?
Perry, you're looking at the portrait. He's referring to, like, a stylized flashback.
Yes.
Wait, are you referring to the picture that has it's like a picture frame of both kids in the same Dante, Virgil, and the whole family together, but the picture frame is cracked? Is that what you're referring to? Because I think I'm noticing the polo now.
That might be it.
That might be it.
Yeah, he wears a polo in that one. There's another scene where he's wearing a polo too.
All right, well, we can discuss this later on.
Defender of
Like-
Humanity. Where's the polo?
I'm trying to think in regards to, like, redesigns of stuff, and it's hard. I don't think there's genuinely been something, at least in regards to my playtime, that I've seen that's a horrible, like, I guess, design choice that has changed. Because, like, the big ones of, like, the game series that I'm really into are, like, Dark Souls and Metal Gear.
Yep.
And most of the time, when things change visually, it's just because a large period of time has passed, and not because it's, like, stylistically different. And it's like, when things look different, it's not because they just decided for it to look different. There's always, like, a plot reason for it, and it never even looks that bad.
Right.
So, it's hard for me to come up with one personally, but if I was just thinking, like, the entirety of gaming, it would be kind of hard for me to think of one outside of, like, really stupid examples from, like, really bad games.
Oh, I thought of another one. That was pretty bad. Spyro.
Oh.
Crash Bandicoot.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Collective groans.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, those are bad. But anyway, we're just kind of like rambling on by this point.
I don't know if this counts as a redesign, since his original design is still in the game, but the werehog.
That's. I would say that dumb. I would say that put on the line of like dumbest transformations.
Yeah.
The only reason they did that was because Twilight Princess did it. Hey, this Nintendo game has a lead character being Wolf. Let's do that.
With the Sonic.
Yeah, did it work? It didn't work.
No.
Let's not reboot Altered Beast.
That would have been a much better idea. But Sega
Heck, you
refused.
probably could have had that as an enemy redesign Easter egg or something.
Yeah, but
Oh, I know one.
go ahead.
This isn't a video game, though, so I don't know if it's brought up for the topic, but Teen Titans Go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's not that bad.
I just think it looks way too... I mean, granted, the original design from the cartoon was still, like, really cartoony, but then it just looked absurdly cartoony.
Yeah,
it's not-
I'm not. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's fine. It's not absolutely horrible. I just don't like it, like, at all.
Really, it's their proportions more than their actual aesthetic design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that one.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So, bad redesigns aside, I think it's time to call this a podcast and sign out.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything you guys are working on? Lenny, Perry.
College. I have about 3 essays I'm working on right now, 2 group projects, and a research presentation.
Sounds like a load of fun.
nothing. Yes, has
You're in
nothing
the
to do with
thick of
my
it.
actual entertainment stuff. But once that is done, because it's gonna be spring break here pretty quickly, I may actually have time to finish the game review and then hopefully move on to genuine movie reviews. Because my friends like here in the Twin Cities have revitalized my interest in like rewatching bad movies like with them, and so I may start making reviews / commentaries on really bad movies. If I was to state, my next one of those is probably going to be on the movie Branded.
Oh God, I remember when you
Oh.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
Lenny.
I think I'm gonna go get my metal helmet just so that way I can duck and cover.
Lenny.
Yeah.
Review Highlander 2.
That's
No,
To
no,
death.
don't let him do that.
Do it.
I just be
Pirate
laughing maniacally the whole time while clips of it play in the background.
Do
No,
it.
don't
Just
do
do
not
it.
do it. There'll be fire and brimstone.
No, Perry. If I reviewed Highlander the Source, there'd be fire and brimstone.
No, there
Review.
would just be even more fire and brimstone.
Also, review the sequels to The Exorcist.
Are you trying to make the world end?
Man, Exorcist 3 is actually really good, but fuck Exorcist 2 and 4 and 5 and the rest. I like 3 the best. That's it.
Just bundle them all together like you did the Hellraiser video.
Yeah.
The
Having
Exorcist.
actually seen Exorcist 3 now, I can actually vouch for it. Like, it's not that bad.
Did you
It's
see
actually,
2?
It is.
Yes, I saw 2.
Yeah.
I've
2
watched both of them back to back.
Yeah, no, it was cool. Like, Perry actually, as far as I know, liked Exorcist 3. Like, he didn't love it, but he actually liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, clench your butts, people. I actually kind of enjoyed a horror movie for once.
Yeah.
Yay.
If there was any suggestion I would give you is just do those in like the style you did the Hellraiser videos. I would watch it.
Yeah, I should do that. There's one other series I've wanted to tackle in that fashion, and that's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I've seen all those, and this is a wide variety of quality in that series.
And if you want to, and if you, yes, it
That's
is.
such an understatement.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the word wide.
And
See,
if
on that basis, and this isn't even a joke, the Ginger Dead Man trilogy is more consistent quality than Nightmare on Elm Street.
yes, he's right.
Yes, that's a thing. That's a trilogy.
Yeah, it is.
And the first one had fucking Gary Busey.
Busey.
Yeah, no joke.
I'm about to break down in tears.
That's not even counting the spin-off where he went up against an evil possessed Bong voiced by Cheech Marin.
Who wrote this gold?
Yep.
I'm just wondering why this hasn't been talked about on the internet more.
It has somewhere, probably.
No, I meant like more. Like, why hasn't people covered this like food fight or shit like that?
All right, Lenny. And my last suggestion is something you can really sink your teeth into.
Oh God, no.
Are you ready?
I'm right.
No!
Cabin Fever.
No! 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 No!
Hey, Perry, I'm gonna. It's not out yet, but I'm gonna see the remake because, according to some people, it's worse than the original.
How's that possible?
Yes. You want? Okay, here's what
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Here's what I've been told. Apparently, they basically did not a shot-for-shot remake, but they basically took like the exact same script, took out a few things, added a few things, like very minor things, but kept it almost entirely intact, and then tried to take it more seriously. Yes, so imagine the entirety of the movie that you saw before, Perry, and now imagine that it's just slightly different, with a newer camera and a different set, but it's almost entirely identical, and everyone is taking it more seriously.
It sounds like I just lost $10.
Yes, it's a fucking... It's a miracle in the worst possible way.
So I have to go see that now.
Yeah.
I don't know what my life is anymore.
And I'll tell you, one of these days, because like I got to give context for my viewers, but one of these days, I'm gonna review Life Zone
No.
and that is my, mind you, and most of these movies are pretty bad, but everything I've already mentioned before is not as bad as Life Zone. But I'm not even kidding. Fucking Saturday Night Cleaver, which is the subtitle for Ginger Dead Man 3, is a better movie than Life Zone.
Please stop.
Man 2.
I am now officially terrified.
Ginger Dead
Stop
Man
telling me these things.
2, Passion of the Crust, is better. Yes, I'm not joking. Is better than Life Zone.
What is this Adult Swim bullshit?
Yeah.
Lenny, direct me to the website where I could order this trilogy so I can put it in my room and worship it.
Let me see.
Ginger Dead
fucking-
Man.
There's so
Passion
many
of the Crust.
bad fucking movies, man. I didn't even tell you guys about the movie about the fucking sexy alien psychic vampires.
Those
I'm
exist.
sorry, what?
Yeah, there's a movie, I think it's called like Life Force or something, not related to Life Zone, where it's like sexy vampires from outer space with psychic powers come to try and take over the world.
That sounds like the premise of a really dumb anime.
Yeah, but it sounds like so stupid that it's awesome.
But no, like the sexy alien vampire things, I'd actually watch an anime about that over this.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay, hang on. This is gonna be weird being in my Google search history. Sexy space.
It wouldn't be the weirdest thing you've ever put in there, probably.
Hang
Okay.
on.
As he's looking for that, Perry, what are your projects?
Well, currently I'm not working on many projects right now aside from school stuff. I'm just building a level in Unity just for work-related purposes. In terms of like other assignments, I'm probably... Oh, I did want to mention something to you guys. You remember the weapon concept that we were discussing yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually designing a character around that now.
Ah, sweet.
Ooh.
So I'm kind of bouncing around a couple different ideas of having it be sort of near futuristic and having the character be basically mixed race Chinese American. So something along the lines of that, and I think I have an overall theme that I want to center a game around for this. And I want to tackle the concept of heritage and whether or not one should be ashamed of their heritage. Like, basically saying, like, the environment that you grow up in, whether or not you should be ashamed of it based on how you were raised, how people treated you based on your background or something like that. And I figured that would be an interesting theme to tackle.
Right. Well, that sounds good.
So I am making a character based around that, and so far I have the basic body structure built, and thankfully I have it somewhat correctly proportioned. I'm still working on it, but overall it's pretty fun. It's probably going to be the first proper design that I actually put in my portfolio if I get this to the quality that I want it.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I'm not really playing that much, mostly just because that's technically not true. The only thing I have really played recently is just more Age of Mythology, but that's, again, for work-related purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, that's more or less it. Just building a level of Unity, doing a couple of papers, building 3D models of Firefly guns. That's about it. Lenny, didn't you also mention that you recently finished The Witness?
Yes, I did. Now, to clarify, I beat the story of The Witness. I have not 100% the game. Because, unbeknownst to me, until much later, there's a secret hidden mechanic in the game that they don't tell you about till you get to the last level of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do that, you find out that there have secretly been puzzles hidden throughout the island for the entirety of the game, including in like the tutorial area, that open up new portions of the island that you had never even known were there before.
Wait, what?
Like, as in, 200 new puzzles open up to you at the end of the game, not because they were blocked off from you, but because you just didn't even know that they were there in the first place.
Oh, that's replay value right there.
Like, that would be equivalent of, like, say, someone throwing a bunch of pennies on the ground, and then saying, pick up all the pennies, and you pick them all up, and then you say, okay, here's all the pennies, and, like, you're not done, and, like, why? And then they point to the ceiling, and there's pennies taped to the fucking ceiling.
And
That sounds amazing.
And there's more pennies attached to a completely separate building.
Yeah, it's that. There's more than I think either 150 or 200 puzzles that you get after all of the main story, like, or mandatory puzzles. Because there's 491 puzzles that you have to solve to beat the game. Then there's 200 of them that or 150 or 200 that you have to do as, like, optional ones to 100% the game. And then there's another, like, 16 to 28 that you need to do the Uber Super Duper Challenge, in which you have a randomized assortment of puzzles in a secret room hidden beneath the final level of the game, in which you have to beat all these puzzles in order, again, randomized, within the time limit that takes to listen to that song, like, The Man on the Something Mountain. Like, it's like a classic song. It's like, like, the time it takes for that song to play and finish is how long you have to beat all the puzzles in the secret room.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Also,
Yeah.
check the chat really quick.
Alright.
Click on that link for Amazon there.
I
Alright.
saw it.
Oh, dear fucking God.
Oh god, I think I found what I want for my birthday.
It's a literal Gingerbread Man trilogy box set that's selling new for $97.
It's worth every fucking penny.
Hey, that's my line.
Oh man.
I don't know what life is anymore.
And if you look in the suggested items one, you can see Gingerbread Man versus Evil Bong down there.
I see it.
Can I just take a break from life altogether for a couple of days, please?
Yeah.
I also want to check out Santa Slays.
Oh, I've seen that.
Is it what I think it is?
Yeah, it is truly a masterpiece of our generation. I'm surprised that it didn't make an appearance at the Oscars, probably because they're racist against Santa. You know.
Alright. Well, Jalen, are you gonna bless us with any more video game OSTs?
Probably.
Sweet. Are you going to
Not
take over
anytime
my
soon.
feed?
Yes. I try not to do that, but I was trying to get it out there.
For you guys who don't know, Jalen released, More Song that came with the re-release of Shin Megami Tensei 4?
It's the soundtrack for Shin Megami Tensei 4 Final, which is the sequel to that game. Mm-hmm.
Wait, so what do you mean by releasing the soundtrack?
I mean, I just uploaded the soundtrack to YouTube.
Yeah,
Isn't that illegal?
No.
No.
No? Okay.
There's nothing really illegal about it. I mean,
I was just curious because I don't know the whole logistics of like legality regarding soundtrack uploads.
Like, they might claim it, but that doesn't make it illegal.
Yeah.
yeah.
A claim is different than a strike. Like, a claim just says, hey, we made this, so we're just going to say that we made it, and we may or may not take your money from it. Which, depending on your case, since it's literally a direct upload, there's not much you can do about it.
I mean, I didn't monetize it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so in that case, that doesn't matter regardless.
Yeah.
But a strike would mean we own this and also get rid of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay then.
But yeah, alright.
How's the soundtrack?
Oh, it's fantastic. It might be a little bit better than than 4's, but 4 has more songs. That's all.
Alright. And as for me, I swear, guys, the ending to JoJo is going to happen. One day. I'm actually going to try and plow through it while Jalen's here. Because
6 years later.
we are so close. Like, we're so close to the ending. I think we're 2 chapters behind. Of course, chapter 10 has to be like the longest fucking chapter in a video game ever.
I mean, we can knock it out on someday this week.
Yeah. But it's coming. And then I have plans to do Undertale. I want to do Shovel Knight. I want to do like stuff like that. I want to finish Resident Evil 4. But
How far are you in Undertale?
I am at Asgore's Castle. I'm about to finish it. I'm about to beat it, to my knowledge.
Sweet, man. I'm eager to see how you like it.
Yeah. I will talk about it with you guys as soon as I beat it. All right, but as for me, that's my plans. We all good?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yes.
so.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You got any questions? Leave a comment. You guys don't leave comments, but don't be shy. Nobody's gonna bite your head off. All right. So with that said, we will see you guys next time.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye!